You got like 3 guys coming. Oh, killed it. I threw a nade and didn't get them. Nope. Covering on your left side.
So hey guys, what's up? My name is T-Space, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Tee, where you, the viewers, ask me a question relative to Battlefield 3 or off the topic of Battlefield 3, whether that be a personal question or another game. So today's episode, we're going to be starting off with, I think his name is Oweop. I'm pretty sure I said that completely wrong. But anyhow, his question is, what are your thoughts on Red Orchestra 2, and maybe the Rising Storm DLC, in terms of mechanics, balance, cover system, and other system, etc.? Now, I have never actually played Red Orchestra 1 or 2. I have seen a couple gameplays of them, and I'm assuming that the Rising Storm DLC is the DLC to Red Orchestra 2. But overall, I don't really know too much about this game. From what I do know, I learned that there is, at least in Red Orchestra 2, a class cap, meaning I think the only class cap that they have in Red Orchestra 2 is the sniper class, meaning there's only one sniper, I think, on each team, which is kind of cool. I mean, you don't get, like, you know, an entire team of snipers playing against another team of snipers. I mean, I don't know, that can get quite boring. I guess from other things that I've seen, a lot of people don't really run around as much as they usually do in that game, given that it's based off of World War II, and there's kind of large, or I would say vast, areas where there's no cover. So if you run out in the middle of nowhere, I think you're gonna die a lot faster. I mean, it seems like in Red Orchestra 2 you die like extremely fast. I could be completely wrong about that because I've never played the game, but overall that's my opinions on it. Balancing, mechanics, I can't really say anything about the mechanics given that I haven't played it. Balancing, once again, I can't say anything about that. All I can talk about is maybe the cover system. The cover system looks pretty cool. I mean, you can pretty much hide behind anything. I think, oh man, I'm probably really wrong about this, but I think Red Orchestra is a third-person game. Am I wrong? I have this strange feeling that I'm wrong, but then I have this strange feeling that I've seen it in third person. Anyhow, I wish I could answer this question to the fullest, but that's pretty much as far as I can go with this question. Alright, let's move on to the next question. The next question comes from 0T28, and he's one of my good friends of mine, and his question is, what is my favorite movie, favorite genre, and favorite TV shows? So, my favorite movie, this one's actually quite difficult. I'm gonna have to say probably the Harry Potter or Iron Man series. Like, those movies, I like those movies. Harry Potter for one, because I grew up with Harry Potter. I was there when the first, Harry Potter was out, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. I don't know when it actually came out, I kind of forgot. I think I was maybe around 13? Is that right? I have no idea. Maybe that's wrong. But I remember watching the first episode, or the first movie, and falling in love with Harry Potter, and then, I was anticipating watching the last series. Now, I'm not the guy that reads the books and then goes watch the movies. I'm the guy that watches the movies first, and then maybe if I want to read the books. I mean, I don't know. The movies were just, easier to, sit down and watch, instead of, I guess, engrossing myself into a huge novel. I'm not that kind of guy. I don't really like to sit down and read books too much. I don't know. Unless if it's a really, really good book where, I don't know, I get completely lost. But I haven't really had too many encounters with those. And even the ones that I have read in the past, I don't even remember what they were anymore, given that it was so long ago. So, yeah. My genre, I would have to say my genre would be comedy, action, and I guess you could say a little romance. I mean, I'm not afraid to say that. So I guess if it was an action romantic comedy, it'd be okay with me. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I'm not too big on mysteries too much. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't really say I'm too big on those mysteries. I don't know why, because every time I think of a mystery movie, I always think of Scooby-Doo. I'm not gonna lie, I watch Scooby-Doo like crazy when I was younger, and that's pretty much, you know, how I thought mysteries was. Like, you know, the bad guy would be unmasked, and then the bad guy would say, man, I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids and your stupid dog, or whatever the saying was. So that's, I don't know, I don't like mysteries as much. Horror films, I don't like the gory horror films, because I think it's kind of over the top. I don't think it's, you know, I don't know, it doesn't seem as scary, it just seems kind of gross. I like the more subtle scariness. I mean, people might get mad at me for saying this, but I did feel extremely scared when I saw Paranormal Activity, the first one, and the second one. Not so much the third one, because I actually haven't seen the third one, but the first two, I thought, you know, it was pretty scary. One scene that I can truly remember from the second one was when the wife, I forgot her name, but she was sitting in the kitchen. I think she was reading her newspaper and drinking some coffee. It was about, I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock. It was early in the morning or so. And all of a sudden, it just went quiet. Like, everyone in the theater knew something was going to happen, but they didn't know what it was. And this delayed in I guess you could say, stuff, like nothing was happening, just like you know, added to the anticipation of everyone in their seats. They were like gripping their chairs with their hands, and they were like biting their nails. They're standing on their toes. It was creepy. And then when it happened, all the cabinets, everything just opened up, and everything was just like so fast and sudden that I almost shit my pants. Like, I don't know, it's stuff like that makes me scared, because it's something that can possibly happen in a way. I mean, it's not like, you know, out of the ordinary like aliens or something like that, but it's you know, it's close or borderline to realistic as it can get, and also being scary, if that makes any sense. So yeah. Alright, what is my favorite TV show? I don't really watch TV that much anymore, but if I'd have to pick my TV show, I would have to say it's a toss-up between Mythbusters and How It's Made. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you know what Mythbusters is. So the Mythbusters is basically a team of people that, you know, debunks certain myths or certain scenes from movies or certain sayings or something like that. How It's Made is probably a show that most of you might not know. How It's Made is pretty much an informational video that teaches you how certain things are made. Hence the title, How It's Made. Like, you know, this show can range from how they make guitars all the way to how they make paintballs, and, you know, the process that goes through them. I mean, I don't know, it just seems really interesting. I think the last one that I saw of How It's Made was when they were making a stereo for you know, for speakers and whatnot, and I thought that was pretty sick. Just the way that they I guess went step by step on how they actually made every single stereo that's ever been made. So I don't know, I get fascinated by that kind of stuff. So that pretty much wraps up that question. Let's move on to the next question. Next question comes from West, and his question is, do I live alone? No, I don't live alone. So yeah. Alright, moving on to the next question. Comes from JS Dart123. And he says, or they say, what do you eat and drink the most? So I eat food the most, because everyone, no, I'm sorry. So what do I eat the most? I would have to say a common thing that occurs in my daily diet is rice. I mean, this is pretty stereotypical given that I am Asian. I eat a lot of rice. There's nothing bad about it. I love rice. I mean, you could pretty much put rice with almost anything. I mean, you know, almost anything. It's one of those foods that you can pretty much, you know, add to a certain dish and help it complement it. But of course, there are some dishes out there that don't, you know, need rice because it'd be too much, let's say. Now, what do I drink the most? I would want to say I would drink water the most, but I would be lying to you. The sad fact is that I actually drink a lot of soda, which is kind of, well, actually, it's not kind of bad, it is bad. And I don't know, I guess you could say in a way I'm somewhat addicted to sodas. Not as like, oh, I drink like 7 sodas a day. I think I'd get sick from that. But I drink at least 1 soda a day. And that's pretty bad enough. I mean, having 1 soda a day is pretty bad. So I guess in a way to compensate the badness, I eat a lot of different foods. I eat a lot of vegetables. I try to eat as healthy as I possibly can. If I go out, I don't really like to go out to those fast food restaurants like, I don't know, McDonald's, Burger King, what is it? I can't. Taco Bell. There we go. I couldn't think of it. I was gonna say like the little Chihuahua that used to do the commercial. Anyhow, so I don't really like to go out to those fast food places that much. And if I do go out with a couple of my friends, I usually try to get a dish that has some sort of color. Like when I was growing up, I was always taught that if my plate was not colorful, meaning like it didn't have like I guess different colors on my plate, then it wasn't it wasn't finished. It was left unmade. So basically, if I just have, let's say, a steak and potatoes, I'm missing something. I need my greens. So I would either order a salad or hopefully ask them to put broccoli or something on the plate. So I mean that's how I kind of counteract me having so many sodas. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. All right, moving on to the next question. Next question comes from Jono Wee, and he has 3 questions. So his first question is, what single-player game would you consider getting? Recent releases come to mind are BioShock Infinite, Tomb Raider, Far Cry 3, and SimCity. So I'm not a huge fan on single-player games. That's just not my thing. I feel that single-player games are kind of one and done. Like you play through the game the first time and then you might not feel the same. Like if I play through a single player game, it might be like the best, I don't know, 8 hours. I think 8 hours is kind of like the norm of most single player games. So basically, if I play through a single player game, I don't really want to play it again because I ruin the experience for myself if I play it again. Because I know what's going to happen and there's no surprise, there's no, I don't know, anticipation on what's going to happen, like how the story's going to move along. I mean, even the single players that have, I guess, different paths that you can technically pick, it's just not the same. So that's why I don't really like to play too many single player games. But if I had to pick one, I would probably pick I'd probably pick SimCity, given that there really isn't a storyline behind it. It's just kind of like a god simulator. I wouldn't really call it too much of a single player game now, given that SimCity, the newest release, is all online, so you have to actually play with other players. But before I would have to consider single player games or the god player games like SimCity, Black and White 2. Black and White 2 is fun. Like those kind of games were fun to me because although they had minor storylines, well, I don't know if SimCity had a storyline, but I know for sure Black and White 2 had a storyline, which I completely forgot. They were so subtle that they didn't really actually, what's the word? I guess engross me as much. Which might sound kind of confusing. They're like, well, don't you want the story to engross? Or don't you want to be engrossed with the storyline? And like, well, I guess, but I wanted to play Black and White 2 because you're fucking God. I mean, in that game you could be like, oh, well, you're not working, well, I'm just going to pick you up and toss you across the map. I mean, like, what? Like, that sounds awesome, right? Or you can, like, rain thunder on your villagers and, like, make them hate you and stuff like that. I don't know. I just thought that was pretty cool. Maybe that's too cynical and evil, but that's just how it was. I mean, maybe I am still like that, but anyhow, that's my take on single-player games. So if I had to pick one of the new releases, I would probably pick SimCity, just given that it is a god simulator, just like Black and White 2. His second question is, would you play another PTFO shooter with vehicles like Arma 3, even though I don't see you in vehicles in gameplay? So, yeah, I don't like to play vehicles just because there hasn't been a game out there that has balanced both vehicles and infantry to the point where they can mix and mash and, I guess, be in perfect harmony. There hasn't been a game out there like that yet, or at least I don't feel like there has been. Arma 3 might be this game, but I don't know. I've been contemplating whether or not to get this game. One of my friends, No Pants, has been, pretty much eagerly asking me to buy this game, but I don't know yet. I want to, but then at the same time I don't want to. The main thing that's probably holding me back is whether or not my computer can run it smoothly, because if I can't run it smoothly, then why play it at all, right? I mean, it's kind of bad. I mean, Battlefield 3, I already put everything on low settings, so if I have to put everything on low settings for Battlefield 3, I pretty much have to do the same thing for Arma 3 too. And if it doesn't work for Arma 3, well, then I kind of just wasted about $30, which, it kind of sucks. So I guess in terms of your question, I probably will not play games that have both vehicles and infantry until I have, I guess, information backing this specific game that it is balanced, meaning they did the right things and everything is, is like, I don't know, the Pokemon cycle, where you have, when you play Pokemon, everyone's played Pokemon, right? So you have, you go to Professor Oak's laboratory and you get 3 options. You get, your water Pokemon, your fire Pokemon, and your grass Pokemon, and then they're in a cycle because each one counteracts the other one. So overall, there's nothing that's overpowered. If games implement this with vehicles and infantry, and they figure out how to meld these 2 things together, then I would play the game. But until that happens, I probably will stay away from them. I'll probably just stick with either just a shooter or an actual vehicle only game. Like, I don't know, tanks. I've never tried it, but I've heard it was pretty fun. So I don't know. His last question is not a question. It is more of a statement, but it says, your YouTube profile is Ghost Recon Skull, yet I have not seen Ghost Recon videos from you. So the reason why I haven't actually put any Ghost Recon videos on this channel is because I don't own a Ghost Recon. To tell you the truth, I had no idea that this image was actually from Ghost Recon. The reason, or the way I got this image, was back when I was in AOD. AOD was the first clan that I joined back in Bad Company 2, and they had a forum. And in the forum, they suggested that you should have an avatar so people would, know who you were. So I scrolled through the given avatars that they displayed for us, and I came across the Ghost Recon Skull. I didn't think too much of it. I just thought it was cool. It actually reminded me more of what's the guy's name? Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. I love that dude to death. Like he would like freeze people and then beat the shit out of them. Like that's so cool, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm not the only one that thinks that. I know that for sure. So that was my initial thoughts of that. And then when I started doing YouTube, I'm like, well, this is kind of a cool logo. Might as well put it up. And then in the future, realizing that this is actually a Ghost Recon logo, I'm like, huh? Yeah. Well, I didn't know about that at all. So I guess you could say it's a coincidence that I'm using it. I don't know if that's the right word, but anyhow, hopefully that answers your questions. Let us move on to the next question. Next question comes from Wesley, and he says, what's up, T-Space? I'm following you from the day Jack Frag said your name on his channel for Channel of the Week, or I forgot what it was. It's something like that. You now have more than 1,800 subs. My question is, what are you going to do for 2,000 subs? To tell you the truth, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, people have been asking me to do a face cam. Before, I was like, yeah, why not? Why not do a face cam? But nowadays, I don't know. I don't know if I really want to. I mean, is it really that important? I mean, because I don't know. The whole YouTube-esque thing, a lot of people have probably said this before, but it's kind of mystery in a way. Like it's like the guy behind the mic or whatever. So like if I show my face, that kind of might ruin the surprise. That's almost like when you were a kid and you woke up really early on Christmas Day, but when you walked downstairs and you looked at your presents under the Christmas tree. Well, for those of you who don't celebrate Christmas, I'm sorry, this is the only analogy that I have, so bear with me anyhow. So you walk down the stairs and you look at your presents under the Christmas trees, and all of a sudden you saw all your presents were transparent, meaning you could see through the fucking boxing, and you'd be like, there's nothing that I like in here. So you would lose the anticipation, the surprise, the anxiety of actually opening up the presents for the first time and just being shocked and amazed on what you got. But then, given that everything's transparent, you can see through it, you're not surprised at all. You walk back upstairs and go to bed. So that's kind of how I feel with face cams. If I show my face, it kind of ruins the man behind the mic. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe in a future video I might show my face. Who knows? It might slip up. But other than that, I feel like it ruins the I guess my personality in a way. But once I get, I guess, a little more comfortable with it, maybe, you never know, in the future it might happen. So yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. Next one comes from Vanamora. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Probably saying it wrong. And his question is, I love you. That's not a question, Van Mora. It's actually a statement. So Thanks, I appreciate your love. All right, let's move on to the last question of this episode, and it comes from a user named Jamie. Thank you for using a normal name. I really appreciate it. So their question is, do you think that playing Battlefield has taken over most of your time or taken priority over important things? I know that it is a very addicting game, and it is definitely more enjoyable than work. So overall, I wouldn't really say Battlefield has taken over most of my time nowadays. I mean, before I would say it had, given that I wanted to become better at the game, but nowadays it's kind of not the same. I'm actually losing the rush that I usually get from playing Battlefield. I've pretty much exhausted most of the stuff that I wanted to do, whether that be, you know, get better at sniping, use a stupid setup, or, you know, stuff like that. Everything has been, you know, done before. I mean, this game is old. It's about a year and a half, right? Or so, I would give or take. And I mean, okay, it's crazy. I saw a weapon review a couple days ago of the M16A3. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that gun is like the most used gun in the game, and you're making a review on it thinking that people do not know how to use this gun? I mean, I know there are certain people that have just gotten the game and whatnot, but still, I mean, those players would probably look back at the more, you know, I guess the older versions of this review, because there really hasn't been too much that has changed with the M16. I mean, of course, you know, I guess you could say the recoil has changed a little bit, and, you know, attachments here and there have changed, but overall the gun is pretty much the same. And, you know, when you see these players or these people making a review on a gun that has been, you know, the most well-known gun in the game, you know the game is getting old. I mean, because people are losing, or they're not getting good ideas anymore. They're having creative block, or creator's block, or whatever that is. Because, you know, every possible thing has been pretty much exhausted. Trolling videos have been exhausted. I guess in a way, sometimes funny videos have been exhausted if someone, you know, does the same thing over and over again. But I mean. Appletini is a perfect example of someone who doesn't do that. Like, every video that he has is completely random, which works in his favor, because given that it's random, you can't replicate that, or at least you can try, but it might come close, but overall it wouldn't be the exact same. Which is why, you know, I like watching his videos and, you know, propping or promoting his channel with my channel. Yeah. Anyhow, so I mean, it seems like this game is getting a little old. I've recently been moving on to other games. I've been playing Counter-Strike a lot, which kind of ties me in with this tangent. I'm actually going to put up a Counter-Strike match game. This game might be around 30 minutes or so. I might decide to break it up into 2 parts, depending on how long it takes. But overall, I'm going to be putting that on my channel soon, hopefully within the next couple days. But yeah, I've been loving Counter-Strike, and I would have to say, if you replaced Counter-Strike with Battlefield in this question, I would probably say maybe yeah. I mean, everyone doesn't like to do something that's unpleasant. Something unpleasant can technically be, you know, work or school or studying or yard work, which I have to do probably after this video. So I mean, you know, I guess using these things to escape from these unwanted duties is, you know, is a good thing, and everyone would want to do that. I mean, I don't think I've met a person that doesn't want to do that, because, you know, whether or not it's fun to you might not be fun for them. So, like, let's say I hate studying, but my friend loves studying. That might be, you know, something that he loves to do, and it doesn't, you know, feel bad. But if I did it, I'd be like, oh, I don't want to do this. I want to play video games. So hopefully that answers your question, and that is the last question for today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the gameplay. I was playing on some map. Yeah. I can't remember, it was a while ago, but anyhow, I hope you guys did enjoy the gameplay. If you guys want to leave your comments, or if you want to send me a private message titled Off the Tee, go ahead, send it to me. It makes it a lot easier if you title it Off the Tee. Make sure there is no limit on your question, I guess, unless it gets too personal, but I mean, even though you guys haven't gone that far too yet. Yeah, so I hope you guys did enjoy, and once again, my name is T-Space, and I will catch you guys later.